I used to think my marriage was average. Not bad, not great either. We didn't fight much. We didn't laugh like in the movies either. It felt normal, predictable. I told myself that's just what happens over time. Love settles, passion fades. You stop noticing the small things. Then my wife passed away, and in one moment, everything I thought I knew collapsed. The silence in the house was louder than any argument we ever had. Her empty chair felt heavier than all my complaints. The things I used to overlook suddenly screamed at me. I remembered how she always waited up, even when she was tired, how she remembered details I never thought mattered, how she cared quietly, without asking for credit. I used to think love should feel exciting all the time. I thought if it felt calm, it meant something was missing. I didn't realize calm was the proof that someone was protecting my peace. When she was alive, I noticed what she didn't do. After she was gone, I finally saw everything she did. I searched our past for flaws. What I found instead was patience, loyalty, consistency. Things you don't miss until they disappear. That's when it hit me. Love didn't fail us. My awareness did. I wasn't blind because she didn't love me enough. I was blind because I expected more, without appreciating what I already had. And the cruelest truth is this: you don't realize the value of a good marriage until there's no one left to come home to. If you think your relationship is just average, stay with me. Because what I learned next changed the way I see love forever. I spent more time noticing what she didn't do than appreciating what she did. She talked too much, I thought, about small things, about her day, about worries I didn't think mattered. I told myself she was overthinking, too emotional, too sensitive. She worried too much about the future, about money, about health, about things I believed would work out somehow. I saw her concern as pressure, not care. She wasn't romantic like the movies. No dramatic speeches, no perfect moments, no exciting surprises. I compared our marriage to highlights I saw on screens, smiling couples, perfect trips, perfect timing. I didn't realize I was comparing real love to edited moments. Instead of asking, why does she love me this way? I kept asking, why isn't this more exciting? And slowly, without noticing, I started believing something better was missing. Not a different person, but a different feeling. I convinced myself that wanting more was normal, that being slightly dissatisfied was just part of marriage. What I didn't see was this: complaint slowly kills gratitude. The more I focused on her flaws, the less I noticed her effort. I stopped hearing her care and only heard noise. I stopped seeing her concern and only felt inconvenience. And the most dangerous lie I told myself was, if it's not perfect, it's replaceable. But love doesn't fall apart in big moments. It erodes quietly. Through small complaints, we never question. If any of this sounds familiar, stay with me. Because this mindset cost me more than I ever imagined. She remembered the things I forgot, not because they were important to her, but because they were important to me. She remembered my schedule, my habits, the little preferences I never thought to explain. She noticed when I was quiet, not just silent, but distant, the kind of quiet that hides stress, fear, exhaustion. She didn't interrogate me. She didn't demand explanations. She just adjusted herself around my mood, softly. She cared in ways that never made noise, no announcements, no credit, no reminders of what she had done. Her love didn't arrive with drama. It arrived with consistency, with patience, with presence. And because it was always there, I stopped seeing it. I thought love should be obvious, loud, unmissable. I didn't understand that the deepest love often moves quietly, so it doesn't disturb your peace. She carried emotional weight without ever placing it on my shoulders. She absorbed stress so I could breathe, and I mistook her strength for normalcy. That's the tragedy of silent love. It serves without demanding applause. It gives without keeping score. But silent love doesn't impress an ungrateful heart. I didn't lose her because love failed us. Love showed up every day. What failed was my awareness. Love didn't fail us. My awareness did. If you're only looking for grand gestures, you might be standing next to a love that's been protecting you quietly all along. The house became quiet. Not peaceful, not calm. Quiet in a way that feels wrong. No footsteps, no small sounds from the other room. No voice calling my name for things I used to ignore. Her side of the bed, untouched. Still shaped the way she slept. Still holding warmth that would fade too quickly. I stood there longer than I should have, as if staying still might stop time from taking the last pieces of her away. The things that once annoyed me suddenly became priceless. The questions she asked, the reminders she repeated, the habits I wished she'd change. I would have given anything to hear them again. Grief doesn't arrive screaming. It arrives slowly, in ordinary moments that no longer exist. I reached for my phone to tell her something small, something meaningless, and that's when it hit me. There was no one to send it to. That realization hurts more than the moment you lose them, because loss is instant. But regret, it keeps speaking. It speaks in empty rooms, in untouched spaces, in routines that have nowhere to go. That's when regret speaks the loudest, not with guilt, but with memories of chances you didn't take, words you never said, gratitude you postponed. You think you'll have time later, until later never comes. And when everything stops, you finally understand. Love didn't leave quietly. You just weren't listening when it was still there. I wanted perfection, something polished, something that looked impressive from the outside. I thought love should always feel new, effortless, exciting in a way that never fades. But what I had was loyalty. Someone who chose me every day, even when I was difficult, even when life was heavy, even when love wasn't glamorous. I wanted excitement, butterflies, constant passion, moments that felt dramatic and intense. But what I had was peace, a home that felt safe, a presence that didn't need to perform, a partner who stayed steady when everything else felt uncertain. I didn't understand back then that excitement is loud, but temporary. Peace is quiet and rare. I mistook stability for boredom, consistency for routine, devotion for something ordinary. And by the time I realized how rare those things are, it was already too late. Loss has a cruel way of sharpening your vision. Suddenly you see clearly what mattered all along, not the perfect moments, not the highlight reels, but the person who stayed, who showed up, who made your life lighter without asking for recognition. I learned too late that love isn't about finding someone flawless. It's about recognizing the value of the person who never left. If you're chasing perfection, pause for a moment. Look at what you already have, because loyalty and peace are often invisible until they're gone. If your partner annoys you sometimes, pause. If they repeat themselves, if they worry about things you don't, if they ask questions at the wrong time, but they still show up every day. They check on you. They remember your routines. They care in ways that feel ordinary. You're richer than you think. Look at them again, not through frustration, but through awareness. Because the habits that test your patience are often the same habits that prove their commitment. The person who irritates you today may be the silence you beg for tomorrow. I'm not saying love is perfect. I'm saying it's present. And presence is rare, so if you're married or committed or sharing your life with someone, don't wait for loss to teach you value. Say thank you now. Listen now. Hold them without a reason. Stop comparing your real life to other people's highlights. Stop looking for problems where there is loyalty. One day, the house could be quiet. One day, their voice could be a memory. And when that day comes, no apology will reach them. So speak while you can. Because love doesn't need grand gestures. It needs recognition. And the greatest regret is realizing too late that you were loved deeply, while you were still asking for more. I thought our marriage wasn't perfect. For a long time, that thought lived quietly in my mind. I believed perfection was something louder, brighter, more exciting. I thought love was supposed to constantly impress me. But I was wrong. Perfect doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention or prove itself every day. Perfect doesn't arrive with drama or grand moments. Perfect feels safe. It feels like coming home and exhaling without realizing you were holding your breath. It feels like someone knowing your silence better than your words. It feels like stability you stop noticing because it never threatens to leave. I confused peace with boredom. I mistook consistency for something missing. I thought excitement was the measure of love. What I didn't understand was this. The loudest relationships often burn the fastest. The quiet ones are the ones that last. Perfect love doesn't make noise because it doesn't need to. It works in the background, holding everything together. It protects your life while you're busy chasing more. I didn't recognize perfection because I was looking for intensity. I was listening for sparks instead of safety. I was measuring love by how it made me feel, not by how it showed up. Real perfection is loyalty on ordinary days. It's presence without conditions. It's someone choosing you when there's nothing to gain. By the time I understood what real perfection feels like, I realized it was never absent. I was. And that truth is what stays with me now. Not because it's loud, but because it's quiet and permanent. I don't miss perfection. I miss her. If you still have your person, hold them, cherish them, tell them what they mean to you. Don't wait for life to teach you the hard way. Don't wait for silence to make their absence obvious. Love isn't about grand gestures. It's about presence. It's about showing up day after day, even when it's ordinary. Appreciate the quiet moments, the unnoticed care, the small ways they make your life lighter. Because one day, those moments will become memories. One day, the voice you take for granted will be gone, and the regret will be louder than any argument, any complaint, any flaw you ever noticed. So hold them now, not for perfection, not for excitement, but for the simple, rare gift of being loved consistently, quietly, fully. Don't let regret teach you value. Let gratitude do it instead. If you still have your person, hold them before regret does.